All right, welcome to Trauma Talk Radio live broadcast with myself, your freedom coach, Natasha Miller. We are here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For March, our theme is investigating childhood trauma. So all of our segments falls under that theme. For our Trauma Talk Radio live broadcast, it's all about conversation. So we start off first with some content about trauma, and then we open the lines where viewers can call in and join me here on the platform for a candid conversation. So our topic this evening is when envy becomes you. And could having envious issues in our adulthood be an extension from our childhood traumas? I don't know. We shall see. All right. So let's get started. Okay, when envy becomes you. So I'm gonna open up with scripture, and then we're gonna get all into the nitty-gritty of this topic. And I'm reading from Genesis chapter 4, verses 1 through 10. Now Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from the Lord. Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel in his offering, but he did not respect Cain in his offering. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. So the Lord said to Cain, why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it. Now Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, where is Abel, your brother? He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. When envy becomes you. All right, so let's remember trauma is anything that violates your internal sense of safety, security, and stability. And it is important for us to revisit our childhood traumas to heal, overcome, and recover whenever they resurface in our adult lives, because there are 4 areas of growth and development that we lack as children. Number 1 is critical thinking. Number 2 is emotional intelligence, which is the ability to identify and process our emotions. Number 3, we're very egocentric. Okay, so we're limited to a one-dimensional perspective of trauma, only viewing it through the lens of how it impacts us as children. And then 4, language. We lack the language and ability to verbally communicate what we perceive to be traumatic and how it has impacted us. So that is why it is important. Now, jealousy, envy, and covetousness is a 3-fold trauma entanglement. And we can see that here in the text when it comes to Cain and Abel. Jealousy is resentment toward another. their advantage, their success, their favor, their position, their title, whatever it is. And so as I'm reading the text from a soul trauma recovery perspective, I'm thinking, okay, what was the family dynamics? Could there have been some favoritism for Abel over Cain, being that Abel was the younger brother? Because you know how sometimes the youngest gets more favor than the firstborn, this, that, and the other. That caused Cain to feel jealousy, resentment toward Abel from the household dynamics. Because now when we see this situation occurs and it's an offering, it's about an offering unto God, we see that Cain was the first to bring an offering, then Abel, and yet God respected Abel's offering and not necessarily Cain's offering. But yet, but at the same time, even told him, hey, well, just bring the offering the correct way. I will accept yours, respect yours as well. But now we see that jealousy has progressed into envy. Okay, so let's see what's the difference. Envy is the covetousness of another's success, advantage, possessions, favors, or the like. So now we see that Cain, in this situation, he's no longer feeling resentment. He's no longer jealous. Now he's envious because he had his focus on what Abel has that he doesn't have, but that he wants. Like he wants this level of favor, acceptance that he's seen his brother have since he was born. And now that is the total focus, now that he's feeling rejected from God as he was from the household. This is all assuming this is the dynamics. It's not telling us this, but come on, we know these are some things that happens in our households. So that is the focus. Envy is a trauma response that becomes a murderous spirit when left unchecked due to its covetous nature. Trauma response that becomes a murderous spirit. And we see that happen in the text. Okay, so focused on wanting to have what Abel has, that he didn't hear the correction, the warning. Well, just present another offering the correct way, and I'll accept it. But if not, sin is at your door, and it desires to have you, but you should rule over it. So you should rule over jealousy and envy to not walk into the doors of sin as far as a murdering spirit. And the thing is, today, if we have these envy, jealousy issues, a murderous spirit doesn't have to be literal murder. Like it's slander, it's gossip, it's betrayal, it's passive aggressive behavior. It's a whole lot of other ways that it manifests, that we operate in a murderous spirit due to jealousy, envy, and covetousness. This toxic threefold trauma entanglement. So covet is to desire wrongfully, inordinately, and without due regard for the rights of others. It is the root of a murderous spirit, purge, jealousy, and envy. When envy becomes Jim. So I want to close out this topic by sharing a story, one of my own. And this happened when I was like my junior year in college. And I had a colleague, and she was launching a ministry on campus at the time for the young ladies on campus. And I was super duper excited about the vision that she had for it, and became one of her number one supporters and cheerleaders until one night. Can we say that again? Till one night? One night. Until one night. And it was one particular night when we had an event, and it was like the kickoff for the ministry. And it was a group of women that came from her church to support, and one of the women of the group was the speaker and everything of that nature. And so in that moment, that night, I felt jealous. Like it was first time I ever just felt jealousy so intense, like all in here. And it was more than jealousy, it was envy, because it was like, okay, she has something that I always wanted and I don't have it. But it was so uncomfortable. I just remember feeling so uncomfortable with it. And like I have to tell her. I gotta tell her I can't go home like this. So I stayed. I was always like the first to get there, the last to leave. So I made sure I stayed in the state till I could have just one-on-one time with her. So as she's walking me to my car, I'm telling her, how I felt. I'm like, yeah, while we were in there, and I felt jealous because I saw you with a support system that I've always had, that I never had, and this, that, and other. And I'm crying, boo-hoo crying, okay? Because I just feel terrible and I'm feeling this way, but I got to confess and let it out. And she didn't say much. She just like put her hand on my shoulder and just let me have my moment. Because even in that moment, God was really dealing with me. And I literally felt as if the Spirit of God was yanking that seed of jealousy, envy, the seed of the trauma entanglement. Okay. Jealousy, envy, covenant is out of my heart. Like before I even had time to fester, it was getting yanked. And I just remember I'm driving back to my apartment, relieved that I was just brave enough to confess that, get that off my chest, because it was just entirely too uncomfortable. So now I'm back in my apartment, and the Spirit of the Lord is like, if I never give you that, if I never, ever give you that type of support that you've always wanted, that you see that she has, does that change your yes to me? And I'm like, I guess not. Well, like, I guess I would still have to say yes to you, even if you don't give me that. And I just remember in that moment making the decision to let go of that desire. Like, you know what? I'm just going to let go of it. I released that desire because whether or not it's ever fulfilled is not going to change my stance of obeying God, my yes to Him. So why even hold on to the desire? Just let it go. And then the next day, back on campus and everything was back to normal, as if the night before did not happen. Like, she treated me the same. She didn't treat me any different. It wasn't as if she didn't trust me because I had that moment of transparency and confession. None of that. And then I was the same, in all of those things. And I remember reflecting, once I got back to my apartment, reflecting upon that next day. And I'm like, wow, had I not confessed and I held on to that, I saw how it easily could have become a toxic relationship. Now the next day I'm feeling some type of way. I'm acting different. I'm acting funny, because I'm still holding on to that on the inside. But then at the same time, I'm still doing everything externally to be the supporter that I've signed up to be. I was determined to be, but on the inside, it wouldn't have been the same story. And I just I imagine how that could trickle into so much more. That internal discord within myself could have turned into strife in our relationship, could have turned into toxicity in her ministry, because my heart is in one place while my actions is in another, and they're totally in disagreement. They're not in alignment. And my actions is like, yeah, I'm here to support you, but on the inside, not the deal. But everything was just back to normal because that was no longer on the inside. Once I confessed it, God delivered me from it in that moment. Then we had a conversation about the root of it. Like, and that was that. But the thing is, it's so important for us to check our jealousy and envy at the door, because we don't want it to fester and completely turn into covetousness, because then covetousness turns into a murderous spirit. And not only that, idolatry as well, because had I even held on to that desire once God asked me that question, it would have become an idol. Like, I'm idolizing, I'm more concerned about having this support system than I am about the presence of God. Because now I'm rejecting God and I'm giving him my no because he's not giving me what I desire, type of attitude type thing. And that's not healthy and good at all either. And what God has for each of us is for each of us. And our stories and journeys differ in various ways. So we can't covet after what we see in someone else's story and process, because that fits our trauma response need. Basically, we have to just relinquish those desires and just accept and embrace what God has for us, knowing that what he has for us is enough for us, because it's for us. And what he has for someone else is for them. And there's no need for me to try to get what they have when God has already have something ordained and readily available for me in my assignment, in my purpose for being here in the earth realm. So that is all that I had to share about when envy becomes you. Let us not allow envy to become us, because then we're going to be murderers. Run around here trying to eliminate folks that have what we want, and that is not God. So we cannot do that. So that is the conversation, the topic this evening. If there's anyone here for the live broadcast, let me know if you have a question or a comment in the chat. Also, if there's anyone here in live broadcast, let me know in the chat too if you would like to come on and join me here on the platform, because for Trauma Talk Radio live broadcast, it is for hey friend, it is for conversation and dialogue. So I put the link in the chat if you would like to come on and join me here on StreamYard to have a candid conversation. But yeah, that is the content this evening. So yes, welcome. I just finished wrapping up the topic for this evening, which is when envy becomes you. It goes along with our theme for March. For March, we're investigating childhood traumas, and the biblical reference that I have was Cain and Abel, Genesis chapter 4, 1 through 10. And yeah, we went through how all that progression. So we don't become envious overnight, and really broke down how it progresses from jealousy to envy to covetousness, and then eventually a murderous spirit. So once we're in full-blown covetousness, now we've subjected ourselves to the sin of a murderous spirit. And a murderous spirit doesn't necessarily have to kill someone literally. It could be gossip, it could be slander, betrayal. There's various different ways that a murderous spirit can manifest itself as a result of an envious, jealous, and heart that's full of covetousness. So that was the topic on today. Yeah. Any questions? And would you like to come on? And if not, I'm gonna get ready to close on out. And we'll be back here next Tuesday. So Trauma Talk Live broadcast is every Tuesday here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we always start off with me sharing some content regarding life traumas and how to overcome it. And then I open the lines where viewers can call in. And yeah, while that emotion escalated to an evil spirit. Yes, absolutely. And then I shared my personal story too when it comes to jealousy, envy, and covetousness, and how we have to check it right away. So, envy is a trauma response that becomes a murderous spirit when left unchecked due to its covetous nature. So, when we check it right away, is when the Lord is knocking on our heart, have a little conversation about our stance. We want to be sensitive, willing, and transparent, honest with ourselves enough to confess, repent, forgive if need be, and release, let go of whatever it is that we desire to have, that we see someone else have, that we want, because we don't want that to become an idol. So yeah, but I really encourage you to catch the replay because I did go through all of that. And any other comments or questions before I roll out? In the meantime, in between time, please make sure that you stay connected on all social media platforms at Freedom Coach in Miller. Also, if you haven't, visit my website to download my free ebook, The Freedom Revolution Handbook. That will also put you on the email list. I hope, I don't know. I think you may still be on my email list. I don't know. But my email broadcast goes out every Tuesday where I give updates and everything. And also, for those of you who are in the Bay Area, California, I have a free Transforming Grief intensive coming up this month in Walnut Creek. And also, I do have an online one coming up next month in April. So if you're not in this area, you can sign up for the online Transforming Grief. And I'm doing that intensive all year for free. So to be up to date, to know when registration is open and everything like that, visit my website frequently and get on my email list, because I always put it in the email too. And that's that with that. But thank you so much for joining me, Miss Fran. I'm gonna just call you Miss Fran. I don't know if you want to show first name up out here. But yes, and yeah, please do respond, give any comments when you catch the replay. Thank you to those of you who do catch the replay. And remember, join me here for the live broadcast on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Share, and come prepared, willing, ready to have a conversation, because Trauma Talk Radio is about conversation and dialogue. So I want to hear from you all too, because this is how we help one another live a trauma-free life, by gleaning from one another's experiences and how we've healed, recovered, and overcome. All righty. Well, peace and freedom until next time. Bye-bye.